Hello everyone and welcome to Rocky Goes to Hollywood. This is the place where we take a nostalgic journey through the fascinating lives of the stars, writers and directors who brought our favourite films to life. There once was a time when Hollywood's allure was driven by these incredible talents, and some of their stories are just as captivating as the films they made. Today we're diving into the extraordinary life of Burt Reynolds, who at the peak of his career was the biggest star in Tinseltown. So let's take a closer look at the man who captivated audiences around the world. Reynolds was a high school football champion in his hometown of West Palm Beach, where he was confident, popular and voted most likely to succeed. He went on to play for Florida State University, choosing the school partly because, as his former coach put it, the girls there outnumbered the boys 6-1. However, a shattered knee ended his chances of turning professional in football. Instead, he went to West Palm Beach Junior College, where he took a drama class and discovered his passion for acting. Reynolds recalled how people came to laugh at the jock trying to do theatre, but they were surprised by his natural talent. He was scouted by theatre scouts and moved to New York to perform in plays. Although critics raved about his early Broadway performances, he struggled to find much work in Hollywood. Seeking new opportunities, he moved to Italy alongside Clint Eastwood to make spaghetti westerns. Eastwood quickly rose to fame after starring in The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, while Reynolds later joked that not many people saw his own western films, such as Navajo Joe. Over a career spanning nearly 60 years, it's inevitable that some prime roles will slip through one's fingers. Reynolds turned down plenty, including Han Solo in Star Wars, R.P. McMurphy in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Edward Lewis in Pretty Woman, and John McClane in Die Hard. However, he told Piers Morgan he had no regrets about turning down anything Bruce Willis did. More notably, and perhaps more regrettably, Reynolds declined the opportunity to play James Bond in 1969. As he explained, "In my infinite wisdom, I said to Cubby Broccoli, an American can't play James Bond. It just can't be done. And they really tried to talk me into it." But the one Reynolds regretted turning down the most, however, was one written specifically for him. When director James L. Brooks approached him about playing Garrett Breedlove in 1983's Terms of Endearment, Reynolds hesitated, ultimately choosing to star in Hal Needham's Stroker Ace instead. "When it came time to choose between Terms and Stroker, I chose the latter because I felt I owed Hal more than I did Jim," he explained. "Nobody told me I could have probably done Terms and Universal would have waited until I finished before making Stroker." The role went to Jack Nicholson, who won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor in 1984. The 1980s weren't always kind to Reynolds. "I can't believe I did all those bad films in a row until I looked at the list," he once admitted. During the filming of 1984's City Heat, he was struck in the face by a metal chair, shattering his jaw. The injury led to TMJ disorder, which gives you pain and discomfort in your jaw joints. He lost 40 pounds as a result. His drastic weight loss sparked rumours that he had contracted AIDS, a claim he spent years refuting. The chronic pain from TMJ led Reynolds to develop a severe dependency on medication, at one point taking up to 50 sleeping pills a day. While he eventually overcame the addiction, the pain never truly left him. He suffered from the effects of the injury for the rest of his life. Reynolds was a long-time admirer of writer Elmore Leonard. After reading Leonard's novel Stick, he decided he wanted to direct and star in the film version. Unfortunately, things didn't go as planned. After watching Reynolds' first cut of the film, the studio pushed back its release date and forced him to reshoot the second half, much to his dismay. He has said, "I turned in my cut of the picture and truly thought I had made a good film. Word got back to me quickly that the studio wanted a few changes. I gave up on the film. I didn't fight them. I let them get the best of me." The biggest blow came from Elmore Leonard himself. Leonard saw the film the day he was interviewed for a Newsweek cover and told them he hated it. After his comment, he wouldn't talk to Reynolds. Reynolds dabbled in the nightclub business during the booming 1970s. He opened Burt's Place at the Omni International Hotel in downtown Atlanta. The club's most notable feature was a stained glass dance floor, showcasing a rendering of Burt's face, along with the words, "Burt's Joint," a peculiar touch considering that wasn't even the club's name. Burt's Place/Joint closed after just a year, and the location became the headquarters of CNN. A huge fan of Marlon Brando, he was surprised to learn that Brando did not share the sentiment. When Reynolds was being considered for a role in The Godfather, Brando made it clear that if Reynolds was cast, he would withdraw from the project. Brando later remarked of Reynolds, "He is the epitome of something that makes me want to throw up. He is the epitome of everything that is disgusting about the thespian. He worships at the temple of his own narcissism." In the same conversation, Brando also admitted that he had never even met Reynolds. Rich coming from Brando. And staying on the topic of Brando, when Reynolds took to the stage in New York, he got an audition for Sayonara. However, he was told he couldn't be cast because he looked too much like the film's lead, Marlon Brando. They weren't wrong. It may be common knowledge that Burt Reynolds posed naked for Cosmopolitan, but what's less known is that he later regretted the decision. He was very embarrassed by it. Editor Helen Gurley Brown had asked him to do the photo shoot after they appeared together on The Tonight Show. "I thought it would be a kick," Reynolds said. "The issue was released just before Deliverance hit cinemas, and all 106 million copies of the magazine sold out." Despite the spread's popularity, Reynolds came to believe it may have overshadowed the critical reception of Deliverance. He went on to say that he thought it cost some actors an Academy Award. He thought it cost Jon Voight and definitely Ned Beatty, and also hurt his own chances. Fresh off his success in Deliverance and his nude spread in Cosmo, releasing a solo album seemed like the next most Hollywood appropriate step. In 1973, Reynolds released his debut record, Ask Me What I Am, though this gem largely slipped under the radar of critics and fans alike. The album came with a double-sized poster of Reynolds in a blue jumpsuit and cowboy hat. Paul Thomas Anderson was determined to have Reynolds play porn producer Jack Horner in his 1997 masterpiece Boogie Nights, despite Reynolds' reluctance towards the material. Anderson asked him 7 times and got 7 rejections. One night, the 8th time, Anderson went to Reynolds' hotel room. Reynolds said, "Look, you don't get it," and he went a little berserk. And at the end of the tirade, Anderson said, "If you can do that in the movie, you'll get nominated for an Academy Award." And he was right. Reynolds had just finished his segment as a guest on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno in 1994 when he was preparing to make way for the next guest, TV host Mark Summers. Reynolds became visibly irritated with Summers, apparently upset by him turning his back while speaking to Leno. Things escalated when Summers, in a playful jab, remarked, "I'm still married, by the way." This remark set off an impromptu water fight between the two. Reynolds poured his mug of water on Summers' lap, who retaliated in kind. The battle intensified, culminating in a chaotic pie fight, followed by a rather awkward hug. Throughout the 80s, Burt Reynolds was dogged by paparazzi and tabloids. In a bold move, he used his private helicopter to drop horse manure on a Christmas display outside the headquarters of the National Enquirer in the late 80s. At the time, it featured America's largest Christmas tree. As Reynolds later explained, "I didn't think it was right that they had the largest Christmas tree in the United States." Despite his long-term relationship and brief marriage to Lonnie Anderson, Reynolds later admitted that he felt his former co-star and fling, Sally Field, was the one he should have married and had children with. When asked why they split, Reynolds didn't go into specifics, just saying, "I screwed up." He was part owner of the Tampa Bay Bandits, a team in the United States Football League from 1982 to 1986. The team's name was inspired by his film Smokey and the Bandit, and its mascot was called Smokey. However, the franchise folded in '86 along with the rest of the USFL. Reynolds was notoriously bad with money, and in 1996 he went bankrupt. His ex-wife Lonnie Anderson said if he made $100, he spent $100. At one point, Reynolds had a net worth of $60 million, but his love of buying lavish gifts for friends and family took a toll. He owned a private jet, a helicopter, several coastal properties in Florida, a ranch, a dinner theatre, and he donated generously to his alma mater. His financial downfall came from an investment in a failing restaurant chain that cost him anywhere between $13 to $30 million, depending on which article you read. And also a $4 million loan he got from CBS while making Evening Shade that he couldn't pay back. At the time he filed, Reynolds had assets worth $6.5 million, but $11.5 million in debts. For several years he had to sign over his film and TV residuals to his creditors. Reynolds died of a heart attack in Florida on September 6, 2018 at the age of 82. And that's a wrap, folks. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the life of the legendary Burt Reynolds. If you've got any more fascinating facts or stories about him, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed the video, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to support the channel. It really means a lot. Until next time, take care and bye for now.